welcome to your distance learning platform. I am your music teacher, Mr. Satterley, and this PowerPoint, this video, is for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in the music class. Today's video is going to talk about this. We are going to define and describe different elements of music. So that's what this whole video is about. This is our first video lesson. What you'll need is the Elements of Music video lesson, that's right here, and you'll also at the end of this video lesson need a KWL Google Doc, which will be for reflection. Everyone will need to submit one of those. So what are the elements of music? Timbre, which I'm going to go over, pitch, rhythm, tempo, structure, dynamics, texture. In a nutshell, this is the bare bones of what music is composed of. And this is, in a nutshell, how you can describe each one. In its simplest form, alright, timbre is the type of instrument sound, pitch is high or low, rhythm is long or short, tempo is fast or slow, structure is order of ideas, dynamics is loud, quiet, and silence, and texture would be the layers of sound that we have in here. Alright, so that is what we're going to talk about for the next passage of this PowerPoint of this video. We're going to talk about all these things in a little more detail. Talk about is timbre. It looks like this, timbre, but it's actually pronounced timbre. So timbre, which is a word I haven't used too much, timbre just means the color of the tone. You may be looking at me like I'm crazy, or looking at the screen like whoever's talking through it is crazy. But yes, we like to use the words color to indicate how something sounds. And that just is a term because some colors are warm colors, some colors are cold colors. Also we have, when you hear a sound, sometimes sounds sound warm, sometimes they sound cold. There's just different ways that you can describe what you're hearing. So timbre is how you can tell the difference between one instrument or voice and another. So it's how you tell the difference between your voice and a classmate's voice, or your voice and your brother or sister's voice, or your mom or your dad or anyone you know, right? They have a different sound. You can close your eyes and you can still tell who is singing or who is talking even if you can't see them. And that's because they have a different general sound in their voice. Now, sound also applies to instruments. So, when it applies to voice, we use high, we use low, we use smooth, rough. All these are different voice sounds that you can have. Like somebody might have a wobbly voice, or very breathy, meaning like it's not very strong. I'm singing and it's breathy. Right? You have falsetto, which if you remember, that's your high voice. Head voice, chest voice. Voices can sound nasally or like going through the nose. They can sound scratchy, like you have a cold. Some are shouty, some are whispery. Some tones of voice are more spoken or rap-like. You can also have a choral, very like proper sounding voice, and an operatic, pinched, which means you're really clenching your throat tight as you sing or speak. Open is the opposite of pinched, and you can also be throaty. Now we also have instrumental timbres, which you can tell the difference between a trombone, hopefully, and a trumpet. Now one of them sounds higher than the other. I'm not going to give you sound bites of these instruments, but I think if you need if you need to learn like how does a trumpet sound, you can easily YouTube that and figure out for yourself and try to get more ear training on your own. So that's the thing about the way that we're doing our distance learning is you have the power and the ability to explore, to take a sidestep and explore anything that you think is interesting from this saxophone, right? That has a different sound, and a flute has a different sound, and string quartet like a violin and viola, cello, those have different sounds. A male voice and a female voice, those all have different sounds. So timbre is how we can tell the difference between each of these, right? How we tell the difference between a trumpet, trombone, female voice, male voice, all of them, because they have a different color. to their voice. Sounds. Now we're going to talk about the pitch, or what notes, how high or how low these notes sound that these instruments and voices can make. So pitch is the next element. So putting pitches together, so pitches are high or low sounds, you put them together in a sequence to make a melody. So just one pitch, la, or another la, just having one of those pitches doesn't do anything. But if you put them together and you make a different sound, you have la 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 la, and you have a melody. So you put different pitches together to make a melody. Other times you can make them at the same time. Different pitches makes harmony. La. I can't do harmony by myself. You need an instrument or more than one person. So pitch and melody. Ways that you can describe pitches would be high or low, connected or disjointed. You could also say smooth or choppy. Some melodies that are smooth, and others are da 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 da. I will walk 500 miles. I don't know if any of you know that one. Happy or sad, stepwise or skips. So if you don't know stepwise, that's applying to da 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 da. If you remember do, re, mi, fa, sol, that is stepwise melody. It's going up or down by steps, which is small jumps in how high your sound is. Or you can go in skips like da da, like in Wizard of Oz, somewhere over the rainbow, and that one has a big skip in it. Or repeating notes where you just have one note playing all the time. Usually you need rhythm to make that sound good. A wide range or a narrow range. So some songs are really hard to sing because they are really big. You have really low notes and you have really high notes. Others have a narrow range and they're much easier to sing. And tempo. So rhythm and tempo, I combine these two because they go together really well. So rhythm is your combination of long and short tones and patterns, and tempo is how fast or slow it is. So these rhythms and tempos can be composed of long or short or silent tones. They can be in patterns of 2, 3, or 4, or even more, which indicates a meter or a pulse. I can give examples. If you ask questions about that, I can give you personal examples. Rhythms can be different. They can either be bouncy, or slow, or heavy, or complex, or simple. These are some of the terms that you can use to write in your assignment. You can use these as your descriptive words. For when you write your own out, maybe your song is fast, or maybe it's slow, or even moderate. Moderate is a good word that I would like you to use for if it's a medium speed. Regular or irregular, meaning if it's just a normal 1, 2, 3, 4, that goes in the regular. Irregular, I gave you a song that has an irregular meter, and so we'll talk about that when we go to the second video. All right. It can be tight or sloppy, and that depends on the rhythm of it, how the machines or the instruments are making the sound. Some artists like to be more precise with their counting and their notes, and others tend to go a little more sloppy. Simple or complex, stepping or swaying. This is the difference between a meter of 2 and a meter of 3. Songs that make you step would be 2, and songs that make you sway back and forth would be meter of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? And you can also sense that there's strong beats or weak beats, or rhythm is a strong part of the music, or rhythm is a weak part of the music together, which we can call form also. So most songs that we know, that we have in our popular music, follow a verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, which can also be described as A, B, A, B, C, B. Some forms are different. I mean, I think you might have trouble finding your form, but what you really need to focus on is you have to hear what is the same and what is different. And it's not asking for the same words, but it's about the same melody or notes that go together and what is different. Because some of them will have different words, but the same melody. So that means it's still the same A, right? Now there's different examples. You'll see in my example in the next video, which is going to be A, B, A, B, C. But most of the time you have A, B, A, B, C, B, A, B, A, C, A. So that just means you have the same part playing here, here, and maybe different parts there, and a third part. So most songs have 2 to 3 different sections, and you'll just have to realize what song you choose, how many different sections it has, or how many times they repeat the same sounding section. You can also have songs that don't really change. Their melody is the same, but maybe different things change in the background. So I call this A prime, and A double prime. So that's a way to vary your structure. The easiest one to understand, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Dynamics is how loud or how soft the music is played or sung. So this can be very loud, very soft, or anything in the middle. So it's just how loud. And most of you, if you're not deaf, can tell the difference between something soft and something loud. If we want to get more technical, which I'm not asking us to do right now, but maybe in the future, they use Italian words to differentiate different sounds. So it's important to learn these if you're going to move on into music. You want to learn that pianissimo means very soft, piano is soft, forte means loud, mezzo forte or mezzo piano means medium loud or medium soft, and that fortissimo is very loud. So those terms, if you ever play music in high school, or even as we progress in middle school, if COVID-19 ever goes away, I'll be using these terms to talk about how loud. So texture is maybe the hardest one to describe. This is about how parts of a song come together to sound. So how different sounds, so different timbres, different rhythms, different harmonies and melodies, how they come together to make a song sound. And we use words like thin if it's not very many instruments, if it doesn't have very many layers, we call it thin, and then we might call it thick or full if it has lots of different layers to it. So sometimes we hear songs with a dominant instrument, like a rock guitar. In rock songs, the guitar is usually very strong and prominent, and that just creates a different texture than if everything's blended together. Different things have solos. Other sounds might be very full and ambient. So I would say just try your best to describe, and I'll use the next slide to give you a few more details on how you can describe texture. My example song is going to be When I Need a Friend by Coldplay. This one uses a choir, and I would call this one thick, full, round, and warm on the sound. I'd say the opposite of that would be thin or cold sounding. Some songs with all their instruments working together are very complex. Other songs are very simple, not really showing too much variation. So varied is a word that means lots of different sounds or lots of different things going on at once. Or you can say it's very similar throughout. So maybe one part is in varied, you might have different sections that sound really different. But if it's similar throughout, that would mean like the song doesn't really change. It's pretty much the same instruments playing the whole time, right? Then you have soloistic sounding textures, and then you have holistic, which I think would be everything's working together and sounds complete. I hope you understand that one. Ask any questions through the Google Classroom. Please ask questions and do your best on this distance learning video for elements of music. I hope you're able to do your KWL now, and that will be due Monday, April 13th at 3:30 p.m. Any questions, ask me via the Google Classroom. Thank you.